Zeboyd, come play with us.
Hi, I'm Robert Boyd. Welcome, won't you? Game development is, making a video game, coming up with ideas, making the content, putting it all together, releasing it, marketing it. All of that is game development. I want to tell people how do you not get ideas? Like, I'm constant, I'm making a game and then I'll constantly think of an idea for a game, another game that has no connection to what I'm making. And the other game always feels like it would be a better game than what I'm actually making, because it doesn't exist. It's just a vague idea in my head at that point of, oh, this would be a cool game to play. It hasn't gotten to the stage where you have to actually figure out how you would create it. So yeah, that's a big problem I have, just trying to stay focused. So with how do you get your ideas? Generally, how I get my ideas is there's things I like, and I like a game or a movie or a book or just a general topic, and I think, how can I make this a video game that I would enjoy making and I think people would enjoy playing. What spin on this can I do that will help it stand out from the things that gave me the idea in the first place? For me, at least, I don't think there's a whole lot of, oh, I just got this idea out of, I grabbed it out of thin air. It's more of a, oh, I like, here's a book I'm really enjoying, or here's a video game I'm really enjoying, and that will spark an idea somehow. And hopefully, the idea, once I've worked with it, will bear little resemblance to the thing that sparked the idea in the first place. Most of the time, I just have a running program in my head of, what's a good idea, what would be an interesting game, or how do I solve this problem that is in the game I'm working on. So just anywhere, I could be at the grocery store, I could be in a car, train, just waiting for something, waiting for our kids to get finish what they're doing so I can take them home. Just random places, airplanes, boring meetings. Try out new things. Try to step out of your comfort zone. Read books that you wouldn't normally read. Do active physical activities that you wouldn't normally do. Just try to get more input into your life. The more activities, the more you step outside of your normal habits, the more you'll get inspiration of, oh, this is interesting. Maybe I could do something with this. First of all, take your ideas and have a journal or a, document on your computer or something so you can write down the ideas you have so that you don't feel like you have to memorize them or keep them in your active brain, so you can say, this was an interesting idea, let me jot it down, and then I could come back to it later and see, do I still think this was interesting, is this a good idea? So I would say that, and then also I would say that just at some point you have to pick the idea that you're going to work on and then work on it until it's done. And maybe, early on you find out this was a terrible idea. So maybe you decide, this was a good experiment, but I need to not do this. But most of the time, you pick an idea that you want to make into a game, and then you just have to bite the bullet and do the work necessary to turn that idea into a full game. And it's not fun all the time. It's always fun. The funnest part is coming up with the ideas because, it's a new idea, it's exciting, and also since it doesn't actually exist in reality, your imagination makes it into the coolest, most awesome video game ever that sells 1 billion copies, and you get the Nobel Peace Prize and praise, glory. Um, it's just the best possible version of the game is in your imagination. So that's the fun part. The hard part is taking one of those ideas and deciding, okay, now I'm going to do the work and make this into something real. And what's real isn't going to be as exciting as what, my imagination envisioned. But if you do a good job of it, it's going to be much better because it actually exists and other people can play it. There's the concept of an elevator pitch, which is can you take your idea and explain it in a very short amount of time in such a way that other people like your idea? And I'd say that's the big thing. Your idea that you decided upon, um, can you make other people excited about it? In a sentence or 2 sentences, can you describe this idea in such a way that it sounds like a good idea to you, uh, some game that you would like to buy and spend a bunch of time playing? And if you can't, then either you need to work on that idea and figure out where's the exciting part of this idea, what's the big selling point here, or you should just say, okay, well, clearly that idea is not quite it, and look for a different idea. Okay, Path of Exile, it their elevator pitch was, remember Diablo? Here's better Diablo. That sounds like a terrible elevator pitch, but
But it's
that's
not.
what they sold. That's how they sold it. They said, "Okay, Diablo people, you're not pleased with the latest Diablo game. Come play our game. It's like the Diablo you liked and we made it better." And that's a very niche elevator pitch, but since Diablo was one of the most popular games on PC ever, it worked and they got the people they wanted to play to buy it and play it. Another thing that's worth keeping in mind is how well do you think you can personally execute this idea? So it could be the most amazing idea ever, but if it's beyond your budget, team, talent, whatever, then it's no good to you. I feel like the industry is very much the case where a simple thing done brilliantly is much more successful than a more complicated thing done okay. It's much better to do something that you can excel at and impress people with than try to do something more ambitious that you're not going to do, to its full ambitious potential. So like if your idea is, it would be really cool to make a Morpeg with these characteristics, unless you have a huge budget and an experienced team, that's not something you're going to be able to do well. So you should, find a concept that you think, matches your strengths and minimizes your weaknesses.
Thanks for watching!